Hey guys, my name is Steve, also known as Terramantis, and this is my channel VII. So recently I got my hands on Might and Magic 7, and in this video we're going to talk about my time spent with the game. It should be stated though that I haven't played all the way through the game in its entirety, and for what I did play I primarily stuck with the single player campaign. Also, this is a sponsored video. That being said, all opinions are my own. The reason it's important to point this out is because yes, my video making abilities are very much for hire. I make my living on YouTube after all, but my opinion on the other hand is not for sale. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about 10 things you need to know about Might and Magic Heroes 7. To start, we're going to begin with something simple, but it's important nonetheless, and that's platforms and performance. First of all, Might and Magic Heroes 7 is currently available exclusively on PC for $50. Now as for the performance, the actual gameplay ran really smooth. That being said, I have a pretty good PC. Overall though, the aesthetic of the game looks as though it was designed to run on a wide range of rigs. But in spite of my machine that should be able to run circles around the requirements, I did notice frame rate stutters during these strange freeze frame cutscenes in the game.
You did not call forth your 6 most trusted advisors to simply give us orders for retreat.
Now on the point of cutscenes, let's talk about the narrative and presentation. First of all, the narrative is delivered through stories told by various members of a council. This council is comprised of Duke Ivan's most trusted advisors, and the Duke is trying to decide the fate of a kingdom. In the process, Ivan's council take it upon themselves to share stories with the Duke to help guide him in his decision, and each of these stories begins as a playable mission.
I see only bloodshed in our future.
To see Ashan's future, you must look at Ashan's past.
During the missions, the story is voiced by various characters encountering one another. Overall though, there's 6 different races or factions in Might and Magic 7, each with their own campaign of about 4 missions. So for the next one, let's talk about those campaigns a bit. One story campaign might see you facing off as humans in an ancient family feud that's caught the attention of demons, or a rogue faction separated between a bloodthirsty orc warrior seeking to kill powerful wizards and a battle-fatigued orc seeking what's best for her people. The completion of each faction's story leads to a final locked campaign, presumably concluding Duke Ivan's decision about the kingdom's fate. Now of course it wouldn't be Might and Magic Heroes without the heroes in each campaign. These characters for the most part are unique figures that the story focuses on, like Thomas the Noble-Born Human or Viaron in the Blades of Erebos. Each hero has their own tale and bring unique skills to combat. So for the next one, let's discuss combat before we jump into hero talents and skills. In Might and Magic Heroes 7, as with previous Heroes games, the combat is turn-based and placed on a grid. At the start of an encounter, you can place your team on the field, but after combat starts, each character's order of attack is determined by their initiative. Silk-wearing ninja dark elves with a high initiative are going to get to attack and move sooner than a gigantic heavy tree elemental or a lumbering minotaur. So combat is all about tactics, and for the most part it felt fairly balanced, although there are times where it was really frustrating when an object in the terrain you'd think is blocking you doesn't, or an arrow doesn't need a line of sight. They just shoot right through friends or enemies to hit their target. It definitely took a little bit of getting used to, but after you learn the rules of engagement I found it really enjoyable. Plotting out the route of attack so you could flank for amplified damage, or deciphering when it's best to use your hero per turn, these are just a few of the examples of the deeper side of the game's tactical combat. Now for number 5, we're going to talk about how your hero gets special skills and spells. Your hero can attack at any time during a phase as long as it's one of your character's turn, and these spells can range from something as simple as a heal or just a normal attack, but they can also change the tide of battle, like teleporting an ally to the other side of a castle wall so they can then shoot a piercing shot through the back line of enemies. Skills on the other hand for the most part are passive abilities and found in the skill tree, skill wheel, skill thing, whatever it is. After each level you can place a point into a talent of your choosing for different things to fit your playstyle, from economics and trading to combat and war cries for buffs. Alright, for the next one, let's talk about how you get into these turn-based combat situations, and the answer is the Overworld map. From dank underground labyrinths to lush forests and barren deserts, the Overworld is primarily different for each faction, and across these various maps and campaigns there are enemies plotted out. Now more often than not, it's your choice when to confront and engage to initiate each battle situation, but each plotted enemy is almost always guarding an important location, resource, or items. Now resources are various materials you need to collect to improve your combatants and build different parts of your castle. Capturing a mining vein for metal or a lumber mill, for example, will contribute a certain amount of resources per day, and you can only purchase so many troops once per week, so smart resource management becomes a game in and of itself. And finally, these resources are then used to upgrade your keep. Here you can choose to build specific structures like barracks to improve and upgrade your troops, a marketplace to exchange and swap desired resources, a mages guild to learn new spells for your heroes, and even hire spies for recon. Alright, so lastly, what does all of this add up to? Well, I have to say that Might and Magic Hero 7 is a slow burn. There's definitely a learning curve when it comes to all of the in and outs of the game. From combat to base building, the start is slow moving. But after a few missions and getting down the mechanics of the game, I really started to become obsessed with managing my day-to-day resources and week-to-week troop development. And on the combat side of things, I would be looking forward to unlocking new creatures to fight with and seeing what tactical challenge was waiting with each new step taken in the campaign. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. It really does help with searchability and goes a long way with the success of videos here on YouTube. It helped me out a lot and I'd really appreciate it. Also, you can click the annotation on screen now or go to the link in the description to check out some additional gameplay of Might and Magic Hero 7. You know, if you're into that kind of thing. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one.